Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Minnis, and I'm the coordinator at Landmark Training and Development Company. It's a multi-faceted company. It's got an outreach center, Landmark Urban Outreach Center, folks who run it over there, and has a food pantry. It's open 5 days a week. You know, people, how many days do you think people are hungry? You know, so at least 5 of those 7 days they should be able to get something to eat and probably not want to go out and accost somebody because of it. We have gardens and a farmer's market all rolled up in and around the same location. And during all of that, we try and show young people how to grow food. You know, it's interesting when you are asked to talk to people about how's their food handled or who handles your food, or basically where does your food come from? And I'm not talking about the refrigerator or a fast food joint. Basically, when you take into consideration, somebody tell me, what's the original fast food? Anybody? Ah, that's right. That's exactly it. You go to the tree, pick the apple, pick the peach, clean it off a little bit, and bite it. If you're vegan, you bite around the wormhole. But, you know, that's the original fast food. And all of us don't have the ability to, you know, have fruit trees outside our residence or a lush garden right by us, but some of us might have a desire, or even, how many people grow food? Okay, there's a small minority of us here. How many would like to grow food? Hold your hand up. Hold your hand up again. Have one issue, and that's how do I get started? Well, I can see all this stuff. Me, green thumb? But the thing that you take under consideration is when you go into the grocery store and you look at their fresh food, you have to wonder, okay, whose hands have been on this food and what was on their hands when they touched it. You know, it's not always a pretty thought, but the fact remains that most food in the grocery store travels an average of 1,500 miles. And by the time it gets in the store, it's not really fresh food anymore. You know, it comes from the fields. The people there are handling it. It gets into the truck from the fields to the warehouse, from the warehouse to another warehouse to the grocery store. How many times has that food been handled? And what were those folks doing with their hands? But when you work with local producers, you can get some insight into their growing practices and the process in which they grow food, which can make it easier for you to understand where your food comes from and who's handling your food, which today could be a great comfort. Not only because you got an insight as to where your food comes from, but because you're creating what's called a velocity of money within your own community. Because dollar's gonna turn, it's better where? Turning within your own community, because it puts more stability in the atmosphere. And stability is not an easy thing to grasp. Don't worry yet, whether you're in Washington, D.C. or at the New Madrid fault line, which is a totally different subject we're not going to go into because we're going to get more food growers out here just in case we run out or can't get into that 1,500-mile food in here. But when you search for local food places, you get some insights into some of the things that they do, and you'll find the difference between the food that they grow and the food in the store is a stark, amazing difference. There's a quality gap between store-bought food and locally produced food. And on the locally produced food side, you'll probably find a blemish or two. In the grocery store, they typically don't have any blemishes because the food was sprayed either while it was growing or it was infused with some pesticide that when the bug bites it, it'll kill the bug. And while, we're bigger than a bug, but after so much consumption, it might start to have a negative effect on us too. So most local growers don't have to use chemicals and pesticides because that produce is not being grown for durability in transit. And these are considerations that, we may want to give into when we go shopping. Because the more you support your local grower, the longer he'll be around.